Good day everyone and welcome to CMA Agri TV. Before we proceed with our lesson, which is social organization, let us have first the MEL, or the most essential learning competency, which is to examine the concept, the characteristics and forms of social system or stratification using sociological concept. And after going through this lesson, you are expected to, number 1, define the concept of social group. Number 2, identify the characteristics and forms of social groups. And number 3, give examples of basic classifications of social groups. After knowing the things that we need to understand in this lesson, you are about to watch a video related to this concept as our first activity. And after watching, in your answer sheet, write the ideas formed from the video.
Do you use social media? Of course you do.
The essence of social networks is understanding people as part of a wider set of relationships. How many friends do you have? What's your location? How are you connected? This is how anthropology has always viewed people. Who you are depends on who you are linked to, and how you are linked to them. Understanding this requires us to pay attention to social classification, the way that societies map are looked at in terms of the persons who are group members going about the business of everyday life. So here's the takeaway. People are interdependent. Although they can be seen as individuals, they are always members of social groups. What's more, they are members of multiple social groups simultaneously. Social structure and cultural dynamics shape individual identity and behavior, but people's actions, both individually and collectively, in turn can reinforce or undermine those structures and dynamics over time.
Good job everyone for watching the video attentively. Just don't forget to write your insights in your answer sheet. For our next activity, I'm sure that you are familiar with this. So before, in other social media app, so there is a game called as 4 Picks 1 Word. Though we are not going to play 4 Picks 1 Word, but the concept somehow is related. So I will be showing you pictures, okay? 5 pictures, and then out of the picture presented or showed, from the picture showed, particular picture, you are going to say, or you're going to write in your answer sheet what the picture is all about. Okay? So try to think carefully, because somehow the answer is related with social organization. Okay, for our picture number 1, okay, so you have here picture number 1. What can you say about the picture? Okay, very good. If your answer is family, then you got the correct answer. How about picture number 2? I'm sure that every one of us having people like them. Correct. If your answer is friend, then, or friends, then you got it right. How about picture number 3? Way back in the face-to-face classes, so we all have them. What can you say about the picture? Definitely right. You got the correct answer. So you have here, or we have here, classmates. And picture number 4. Yeah, you have seen a lot of people here. Okay? Correct. The answer is networks. You are doing the right thing. Okay? How about the last picture? Yan. You have seen that there is a picture, or there is a person on the top, then following the other person or other individuals. Then what can you say about? Organization is the right answer. So, see, now, to continue with, let us have our next activity. Okay, so in our next activity, what's new? For activity number 3. So complete the sentence below based on the previous activity. Okay? So in the pictures that I've shown you earlier, you are going to answer this activity. Activity number 3. Number 1. The words or the word that I formed were, okay, so you write your answer and you write your answer. Okay? So you have here in your answer sheet, in your the one that we sent to you before. Okay? Next, number 2. Question number 2. I can relate to the pictures in the previous activity or above because then you write your answer. So from all of the activities, class, we can now have the concept of the social group. Okay? So when we say social group, so everyone belongs to a group. And that is correct. Every one of us. We have our circle of friends. So you have your race. Yeah. You have your gender. Perhaps our favorite sports. Or sports team. Or even the place where you were born. Okay, and even college. So sometimes, class, groupings are determined by the factors related to who we are. Like, for example, the sex, the age, okay? Or the race or the ethnicity. So, but in many other cases, class, they are somewhat arbitrary fashion. Okay? So, in school, you would likely associate with classmates who share the same interests. Like, for example, Some of you likes playing basketball, you have the common hobby or the common sports, then you have the affiliation or the group, you're affiliated into the group, or even fashion sense or love of a certain type of music. So that is a social group. Okay, so we are talking about group. And what can you say about group? So, of course, we are familiar with group because during the face-to-face, we are doing groupings activity or group activity. So, in our lesson or in our classes. So, when we talk about group, a group is composed of two or more persons. Okay? A group is composed of two or more persons interacting with each other. So, and guided by a set of norms. So, it is also defined as a specified number of individuals where each organizes members as distinct from non-members. Okay? So, that is why class, it is very important that when we do a group activity, so everyone must cooperate. Otherwise, the activity won't be possible or the activity will not be as good as done by the groups. Okay? In this part of your journey, we provided something for you to read to deepen your understanding about the topic. Please do it with comprehension to discover knowledge that will help you out in dealing with the next phase of your quest. You can now turn your module on page 62, so together we can read, we can understand, not just understand, but comprehend the basic classification of social group. For our basic or for our first basic classification, we have here the first or the primary group, the primary group and the secondary group. Okay, so what can you say about the primary group? So posted in our screen, the definition of the primary group and the secondary group. So primary group marked by concern for one another, shared activities and culture, and long period of time spent together or long period of time spent together. They are influential in developing an individual's personal identity. The goal of primary groups is actually the relationships themselves rather than achieving some other purpose. Examples, we have here family, childhood, and close friends. Like what you have seen in the picture for our primary group, you have here the family. How about the secondary group? Secondary group relationships involve weak emotional ties and little personal knowledge of one another. In contrast to primary group, secondary groups don't have the goal of maintaining and developing the relationship themselves. These groups are based on the usual or habitual interests or affairs. For examples of this group, you have here nation, church. You also have professional association, corporation, university classes, teamwork or team, or co-workers. So like what we have in the given example. How about the next basic classification of group? The next one is in-group. When we say in-group, belonging to same group as others who share the same common bond in interest, who are more likely to understand each other, refers to an in-group. Examples, you have here the unions and the sororities. In contrary of the in-group, we have the out-group. And when we say an out-group, those who do not belong to the in-group are part of the out-group, which exists in the perceptions of in-group members and takes on social reality as a result of behavior by in-group members who use the out-group as a negative point of interest. So, how about the next one? The next basic classifications of social group is reference group. So when we say reference group, like in the picture, it is a collection of people that we use as standards of comparison for ourselves regardless of whether we are part of that group. Like for example, the parents, we use to compare or other compare their parents to another. Like for example also the siblings, teachers, peers, associates, and friends. So there are comparison in this group. And the next one or the last one is a network. So when we say network, a network is a collection of people tied together by a specific pattern of connections. They can be characterized by the number of people involved, as in the dyad, or by twos, triad, by threes, but also in terms of their structures, like for example, who is connected to whom, and functions. Example of this, we have here family members, friends, works, colleagues, and classmates. So, at the beginning of 21st century, a social networking, forms of networking boom. So that is why class, there are some businesses, okay, so that there are some businesses involving in this kind of networking and they earn on it, okay. So those are the basic classifications of social group. So easy to understand because examples were given. Okay, so now we are ready. After knowing the different basic classifications of group, we are ready for our activity number 4. So this is by answering the following question and write it on your answer sheet. So you answer the following questions and then write it in your answer sheet. Okay, so for our question number 1, pretend that you belong to a particular in-group in your class. We are talking about in-group class, huh? You notice that one classmate from your class does not belong to any group. So meaning to say that he don't have any group at all. What would you do if you are in this situation? Would you invite him to join in your group or in your in-group? Why or why not? So, think carefully class, ha? Why are you going to invite him or why not you are going to invite him? So you write your answer in your answer sheet. For the next question or question number 2, the sangguniang kabataan of your barangay approached your group in school to help them in feeding program of the community. They also asked the help of the other groups from your school. What would you do to help the SK officials or officials? Would you ask the outgroups to join you? How? Okay, so like what I asked you, think carefully before you write your answer. So be sure that it is within your heart. Okay? So next. So after answering the activity number 4, you are now ready to answer activity number 5. So what are you going to do in our activity number 5? So this is very easy because your house will serve as your source. Okay, source for this activity. So find an example of basic classification of social group in your house. If there is none, you can take a photo using your cell phone. For example, so you have the magazines or the newspaper. Try to do clipping, cut, if it shows an example of a social group. Okay, the one that we discussed, like whether it is a primary, secondary, or in-group, out-group, reference group, or network group. Okay, so where are you going to write your answer? Together in your answer sheet, in an A4 size of bond paper, explain why your example is the best one. Take note class, ha? The best one. You can make a design and your piece of work if you want. Okay? So if you want to make a design and be creative in your work, then you may do so. Okay? So that is our activity number 5. So for our next activity, what I can do or what you can do. For our activity number 6, answer the following questions comprehensively through vlog. Okay? So you might be familiar with different vlogs in YouTube, and you might also be watching it, and you are doing it also. Okay? So this time, you are going to make your own vlog. So you have to convince us, okay? You have to convince us that you are belong into a chosen group, okay? So that you are belong into a particular group. You have to choose one and then convince us why you are appropriate in that particular group. Be creative in doing your blog. When we say creative, you can put a music, or you can have the music on it. Okay, pictures, anything related to your topic. Okay, and of course, you can use the guide words below, or you can use the questions here, the words here in the situation. You think of a group that you belong to. Think of a group that you belong to. That is the situation. How does influence as a student, or how does this group influence you as a student? Your answer should be on this way. The group that I belong to is, then you state your group. You show picture in your blog, okay, or videos perhaps. They influence me as student by, then say your answer. And influence them, or I influence them by, then state your answer. And the last one is, they help me fulfill my ambition in life by, then mention your answer. So it is you that will make your vlog more creative, more catching, and somehow can be related to audience. Okay? Okay? Okay, so by the way, class, we have here the rubric in making a vlog. Okay, so you have here the excellent, you have the good, the satisfactory, and needs improvement. For the concept, the design, the participation, and final product. Okay, so for the concept, the video clearly demonstrates a key concept. The video demonstrates key concept for good points, and the video demonstrates a previous concept. And for needs improvement, the video does not demonstrate a clear concept. Okay, so I will also be sending this rubric in our GC for you to understand the concept of vlogging on, or for you how to make your vlog more meaningful and as much as possible having a high grades. Congratulations everyone! We are on the last part of this lesson, which is the assessment part. On page 66 and 67 of your modules, you have there the 10 item questions for assessment. So write your answer in your answer sheet. Congratulations everyone! Finally, we are done with our lesson, and I hope that you learned something from the discussion. So thank you for watching, and see you again on our next video. For questions, you may send your email through my email account at isonjacob@gmail.com, or you can send your chat or messages in my FB account, in my messenger at Chris Jason Albigas. Okay, so see you again, class. Bye!